and Michael Jimenez are the Fantasy Gods. Brought to you by RDK Advisors.
Good afternoon, San Antonio. It's a special edition of the Fantasy Gods on ESPN San Antonio, 1250 AM, 94.5 FM, and as always on the go at ESPNSA.com. Hey, normally at this time, it's the Blitz, right, from 4 to 7 with Jason and Rob, but they're off today, taking Thanksgiving a little bit early today. So today, we have a special edition of the Fantasy Gods, a 1-hour show with two fellow. Poppy Medina will be with us, and Jill Jelnick will be with us as well. Brandon, Jill, how are you doing today?
Fantastic. Thanks for having us. A happy Thanksgiving week to everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. We're excited to be here, talk some fantasy football. We have playoffs on the horizon, my man.
Playoffs.
It's absolutely crazy. We're going to have a 1-hour show today. I'm pretty excited because we're going to be talking not only fantasy football, but NFL in general and kind of put it all together. So we're going until about 5 o'clock today. Here's the thing. We've got 2 weeks left in the fantasy football season, and the nitty-gritty time, right? We're either going to make the playoffs or not make the playoffs, and that's the thing. We've got to make it or not, right? But right now, we've been talking all season long about how we really haven't had much of a COVID issue for the last few weeks or so, and today it reared its ugly head. If you haven't heard, the Thanksgiving evening game, the primetime game between the Ravens and the Steelers, it got pushed back to Sunday afternoon due to a COVID outbreak inside the Ravens locker room. There are reports of 7 players, including the 2 starting running backs for the Ravens, testing positive. That's Mark Ingram and J.K. Dobbins. Also hear that multiple coaches have tested positive as well. Jill, when you heard about this afternoon, what did you think?
My first thought was, man, I was looking forward to watching that game right after Thanksgiving dinner, right? I mean, that was going to be such a great primetime game coming after the Cowboys, a fantastic slate of football on Thursday tomorrow. And obviously, you kind of alluded to it, Michael, COVID hadn't been too much of an issue, but this is big. This is as much as this is, in my opinion, the worst we've seen in the NFL.
It's absolutely crazy. 7 players all in 1 week, all testing positive in the last 3 days, right? And as you said, this was the marquee matchup. I know we're all excited about the Cowboys against the Washington football team. You have the Lions against the Texans. But this was the game that you were going to have the undefeated Pittsburgh Steelers going up against a Baltimore Ravens team that is not playing so well, but is still 6-4, still has Lamar Jackson. It was going to be an exciting game, and that game is gone. But Brandon, I have to ask you, from a fantasy, who do you think is going to benefit from this the most, the fact that those 2 running backs are gone?
Yeah, I mean, right now, it sounds like it's choo-choo all aboard the Gus bus for Gus Edwards, right? However, I think you got to take a step back and think about it. When you look at Gus Edwards, he's going up against the number 1 defense in the Pittsburgh Steelers for running backs. We've seen his explosiveness. We've seen he's a great goal line back. I just think you're going to get what you have gotten all year from a Ronald Jones type. He's going to be a great conditioned back to get you in the end zone, but he might be too touchdown dependent in that Baltimore Ravens offense. So I'm a little nervous. However, I know, Jill, you went out and picked up Gus Edwards, correct?
Yes, sir. Just picked him up first thing this morning. And you know what? I think you hit on it too, Brandon. I as much as excited as I was to pick up Gus Edwards, because I sometimes I just like getting the scoop ahead of everybody more than I even like the player, right? I don't know. I haven't decided yet whether or not I even want to start him, because the Steelers have a top 10 rushing defense. Actually, according to my fantasy football app, they have the best rushing defense. And so I'm a little hesitant just because, yes, he hasn't been in the mix for a while. But I do want to point out Edwards had his best game of the season in Week 8 against the Steelers. So just saying.
There you go.
He did. I'm looking at that stat line right now. Gus Edwards against the Steelers on November 1st, 16 rushes for 87 yards and a touchdown. Jill, are you sure you don't want to start him at least maybe as a flex?
And that's exactly where I would put him in the flex spot. Right now, I'm between him and also Curtis Samuels for the Panthers. And so who has been fantastic as of late and is trending in the right direction. So we'll see. I have a little bit of time, right? Because the game got moved to Sunday.
It did. They haven't announced the time yet, or last I checked, they hadn't announced the time. But Gus Edwards is only owned by 14% in ESPN leagues right now. So chances are he's available in your ESPN league. It's not often that someone who has a potential of going off for 80-plus yards and a touchdown is suddenly available. We had that a lot earlier in the season with all those injuries, but the last few weeks or so, that really hasn't been the case. Guess what? This whole thing, right? We talk about how bad this is for Thanksgiving, right? We were so looking forward to watching this Thursday night, as you said, Jill, after dinner. But there's one team out there that's actually benefiting from this the most.
Who could that be?
That would be the Dallas
Cowboys.
Okay, here's the thing. The Dallas Cowboys in that awful NFC East division where all the teams have 3 wins. The Cowboys, though, probably have the easiest schedule the rest of the way, right? They've got nothing but losing teams. The only winning team going on in their schedule the rest of the way, the Baltimore Ravens next week. So that means the Cowboys get them on a short week. So it's a short week for the Ravens, but the Cowboys are going to be regular 1-week separation. How big, Jill, is this for the Cowboys? Knowing all that's going on with their schedule, with what's going on in the NFC East, how big is this for them?
I'm just picturing Jerry Jones in his big yacht with a big Thanksgiving spread in front of him. And he's just, rubbing his hands together and just enjoying every second of this. This is huge. This is absolutely huge. And any team in any sport will tell you that when the schedule matches up like that and you get an extra day off, I mean, forget about the fact that it's more time for the Cowboys. We're talking, they're playing Thursday, Thanksgiving, and it's another week. That is huge. And I think the other part about it, Michael, is you mentioned it, the schedule. They don't have an aggressive schedule the rest of the way. They have a manageable schedule. They're arguably their most difficult opponent is the Ravens, and it just so happens they get a little more time for them. I love it.
Brandon, next week, Cowboys, Ravens. It's going to be a Thursday night game, right?
Crazy.
Who has the upper hand, do you think, in that game?
I mean, the Dallas Cowboys, 100% when you look at just timing in general. But when you look at offenses, this Baltimore Ravens offense should have a field day with this Dallas Cowboys defense, right? At least that's what we think.
You would think so.
But if Gus Edwards is still the running back, that is the game where it's a must play. That's an RB2 level game, possibly even an RB1 if you're struggling. And Zeke Elliott looks to be bouncing back as well. So this is going to be a fun, guns blazing Thursday night game. A lot of the primetime games have not been so fun. If you guys haven't noticed, they haven't been as exciting sometimes. And I think this is one we can count on to be a blast to watch.
I agree.
This is a special edition of the Fantasy Gods on ESPN San Antonio. This is usually an interactive show on Sundays. Our show on Sundays has been really popular. It's amazing how many responses we get on Facebook and on Twitter. So you can reach out to us right now on ESPN San Antonio's Facebook page. We are on live right now. You can also reach out to us on Twitter. My handle is at 210 Fantasy God. That's 210 Fantasy God. Brandon is at Big Poppy Brandon M. That's at Big Poppy Brandon M. And Jill Jelnick, it's her name, at JILLJELNICK. We welcome all your comments. We'll read them all out loud. Also, if you want to have a call, you have a question about fantasy, the Kielbasa Bacon phone lines are open at 210-656-ESPN. That's 210-656-3776. So, guys, I told you, that one team benefited here. The Cowboys benefited. The Ravens are the big loser of all this. But
of course the Cowboys benefited,
team,
of course.
Of course, right? But there's a second team that's also a big loser when it comes to this, and it's the Pittsburgh Steelers. Oh my God, they were throwing down on Twitter today. Their star wide receiver, Juju Smith-Schuster, this is what he posted on Twitter. Quote, "First, the NFL takes away our bye week because another team can't get their COVID situation together. Now they take away our Thanksgiving primetime game for the same reason." SMH being shaking my head, right? When I first read this, I envisioned this being the 15th draft because there were probably multiple expletives that were in there originally. But what he's referring to there is the fact that earlier in the season, because of COVID, so COVID has affected them twice, but not internally. It affected them because the Tennessee Titans had an outbreak, and that forced the Steelers to move their bye week from week 8, which is perfect for an NFL season, move it all the way up to week 4. So right now they're thinking to themselves, man, we're doing everything we're supposed to be doing, and we're still being impacted by this. But despite all that, what is their record right now?
They're undefeated. You know what I want to tell Juju Smith-Schuster right now? Welcome to 2020. Get in line. There are problems. There are issues. What did you think was going to happen? A flawless 2020 NFL season? If the Steelers were struggling or were neck and neck for their division, right? Okay, then I'll give them a pity card. You're not getting a pity card from me. Not when you're undefeated. No way. No way.
That's stupid.
Yeah, exactly.
Brandon, do you agree with this? Do they get a pity card, or do we have to tell them to calm down simply because they're undefeated? I mean, what if they were 6-4? I mean, do they not get a pity card because of their record, or do they not get a pity card because, well, it's just 2020, just deal with it?
Zero pity. Come on. When you have 0 losses, you get 0 pity. It just makes sense. Come on. I mean, listen, Juju needs to get in line to become the number 1 wide receiver on his own team again, much less be complaining about stuff on Twitter. Because, listen, my boy Deontay Johnson is taking over fantasy football, taking over that team. You got Chase Claypool. You have every weapon possible. This is the last thing you need to be worried about. Worry about the safety of others, not just the game. It's more in the game. COVID is serious. I'm sure he knows that. It's just frustration coming out over Twitter.
And I liked what you said. It wasn't just Juju Smith-Schuster. It was also being retweeted by other players, right?
Yes. Yeah.
How sad. That's just 2020 right there. I mean, I understand. You hit the nail on the head right there. You said this is a serious issue and whatnot, but you got to understand, they're playing for pride. They're playing for a ring. They're playing for money. And I get it. They're 10-0, but they can't seem to catch a break. They catch a break on the field, but everything outside the field has been bad. So I'm really looking forward to the rest of this show. We've got another 45 minutes of this special edition of the Fantasy Gods, as always sponsored by RDK Advisors. Now, here's the thing about RDK Advisors. RDK Advisors is a financial services company here in San Antonio that helps insurance agents and financial advisors place business. A lot of times there are property and casualty agents who do primarily auto and home, but they go to RDK Advisors and they say, hey, help me process this business. Help us get this business through. So you can have good life insurance business, good disability business, annuity business. RDK Advisors is there to help you. Call 210-508-0369, or you can visit rdkadvisors.com. But when we come back, we're going to be talking about injuries. Who's going to be out this week when it comes to fantasy football? We're going to give our advice as to what you should do the next 2 weeks and how you should prepare for the playoffs. And man, Taysom Hill, I can't wait to have that discussion about Taysom Hill. Should we consider him to be a QB1? Should we be starting him? Find out when we come back after this.
Jason Minix here for Alamo Water Softeners, a great locally owned family-run business by the Townsends. You know I've had a water softener in my home for years. Had one in the old house. Obviously, I have one in the new house. In fact, it was the first thing I had installed when I moved into this new house was the new system from Alamo Water Softeners. Now, if you're an existing Alamo Water Softeners customer, take advantage of their Black Friday specials. 50% off Pioneer whole home filtration systems. It is the next level of filtration when you mention ESPN San Antonio, and $49.99 for a complete inspection and tune-up of your Alamo water softener system. Now, if you don't have an Alamo water softener, you need one. In San Antonio, we have some of the hardest water in the country, and I can tell you firsthand, when you get one, you are going to love it. My daughter, who's home from college, is thrilled to be taking a shower with Alamo water softeners, giving her that soft water. Get yours. AlamoWaterSofteners.com is the website. AlamoWaterSofteners.com. If you know your brakes are going bad or you think they're going bad, you need to go to NewBrakes.com. Jason Minix here for New Brakes. NewBrakes.com. New Brakes is a mobile brake shop. They will come to you to fix your brakes. New Brakes has made getting your brakes repaired easy, convenient, and affordable because they'll come to you. They'll come to your home or your office, wherever you are. Their certified brake techs will fix your brakes while you continue to live your life. Do what you are doing. You take this Thanksgiving week. A lot of people are at home right now, taking a couple of days off. You don't want to spend that time waiting at a brake repair shop, do you? But you know you need to get your brakes fixed. You can continue doing whatever it is you're doing while your brakes get fixed. Most repairs are done in less than an hour, and New Brakes uses premium brake parts, and they back all repairs with a 24-month, 24,000-mile warranty. Save 10% when you mention my name when you schedule your repair at New Brakes, nubrakes.com. That's nubrakes.com.
The San Antonio Express News gives you access to the city, access to be in the know, access to be amazed, access to be better citizens, access creativity. The San Antonio Express News. Express your relief. Express your voice. San Antonio, be the first to know with the San Antonio Express News. Subscribe today at expressnews.com/subscribe. Get access with the San Antonio Express News by subscribing today at expressnews.com/subscribe.
Video surveillance is a part of life. Everywhere you go, you're on video. Having video cameras at your house is for your safety and sense of security. Jason Minix here for BSG, the company that brings you the best in home security and smart home technology. The security system in my home is from BSG. The video cameras, video doorbell, and other features are fantastic. If you're shopping for cameras this holiday season, don't buy cheap ones at the big box store. Call BSG at 210-877-1222. They are the Jedi experts, and make sure you are getting what you need. Whether it's a new camera system or you need to upgrade or add to what you have, BSG can help. For your aging parents, if you're concerned about their wellness, you can monitor them 24/7. Easy, affordable, and you get that peace of mind. At BSG, they offer free estimates, deferred payments up to 6 months, and in-house financing. Call BSG at 210-877-1222 or bsgtexas.com.
Ho, ho, ho. Hi, I'm Brooke Burke. Do you ever consider just how important your feet are? They're quite literally the foundation of your body. And if you don't take care of them, you're asking for problems. That's why I wear Skechers' new Arch Fit shoes. Skechers teamed up with podiatrists to make a shoe that provides total foot and arch support. They used 20 years of data to design a podiatrist-certified insole that distributes support across the arch no matter what foot type you have, providing extreme comfort. Get Skechers' new Arch Fit at a Skechers store near you, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish shoes are sold.
With no fees or minimums on checking and savings accounts, banking with Capital One is like the easiest decision in the history of decisions. Kind of like Taylor Swift choosing what to wear.
It's looking kind of chilly out today. I think I'll go with a cardigan.
Yep, even easier than that. And with our top-rated app, you can bank anytime, anywhere, making Capital One an even easier decision. That's banking reimagined. What's in your wallet?
New consumer accounts only. Approval required. Terms apply. Capital One N.A. member FDIC.
Welcome back to a special pre-Thanksgiving, a Thanksgiving Eve edition of the Fantasy Gods. Normally we have two fantasy gods, myself, Michael Jimenez, and Brandon Medina. But today we have a fantasy goddess, Jill Jelnick. Jill,
Thank you.
how are you enjoying your fantasy gods experience so far?
I was just gonna say I don't think I've ever been called a fantasy goddess, so I appreciate this. I have won my league numerous times, and so I'm surprised this is the first time I have had that title, but I very much appreciate it.
I put on Twitter today, I tagged you and I said something to the effect of, I can't wait for you to be in one of our leagues next year.
Yes.
Jason Minix responded, she's going to take your money.
Jason knows from experience.
Brother.
I'm like, doesn't he know I'm a fantasy god? Doesn't he know this? Hey, so it's amazing. You know, we've got about in most leagues, about 2 weeks left in the regular season for fantasy football. And right now we're still dealing with injuries. Got some new reports right now coming out. Christian McCaffrey, who was the number 1 pick in almost every draft this year, he's out again this week.
Gosh, it must be so frustrating to have him, right? Oh.
Yeah, Teddy Bridgewater will be playing, though, for the Panthers. Let me ask you this, Jill. Let's suppose that you are one of those owners that has Christian McCaffrey, and he misses this week, misses next week, and all of a sudden he's declared to play for Week 14, which is playoff time. Would you play him?
That's a tough question, man. I'm actually really glad I don't have him because I'm not faced with that tough decision. But no, you bring up an excellent point, right? Okay, he was listed as a limited participant in practice today. He's missed 6 games earlier this season with an ankle injury. Now he has this shoulder injury. You're saying if he comes back just in time for playoffs, do you play him? Yes, because his upside is that great. I'm going with yes.
Wow.
I would go with yes because his upside is that great if you need him. If you don't need him and you're pretty confident in your matchup, let's say you're, the number 1 seed going into the playoffs, right? And you either have a bye week or you're playing kind of a lower seed and you can think you can get away with not playing him, fine. You can make the safe move. But if you think for a second that he can help you get that win, just do it because his upside is phenomenal. And the Panthers are playing it safe. Coach Matt Rule, former Baylor coach, he's definitely playing it safe. And I don't think that shoulder injury is as bad as it could be.
Brandon, welcome back. Here's the thing. We're asking the question. Christian McCaffrey, as we've noted on the Fantasy Gods all season long, he was round 1, pick 1 in most leagues.
Yep.
If he comes back just in time for the playoffs, would you put him on your team?
100%. He's the guy. He's pick 101 for a reason. He's the man. Obviously in real football, we look at the Lombardi Trophy. For my league, we have the Barbacoa and Big Red Trophy right here.
Hey.
So obviously, Christian McCaffrey is always going to be on my squad if I have him. I do have him in a few leagues. I was blessed enough to get it. I know there were some questions in our keeper league, Michael, because I did get pick 101. However, it's just that's how it was laid down. That's how the tea leaves fell. Took McCaffrey. Hasn't worked out for me, but I'm still keeping him. And if he's in for the playoffs, must play.
A couple more injuries to talk about. By the way, I agree with both of you guys. You have to play him. That's why you drafted him 101. A couple of other running back injuries. Rex Burkhead is out for the season, both in fantasy and in real life because of a torn ACL for the Patriots. Austin Eckler is returning from the IR for the Chargers. One of the things about the Patriots, man, they've had a really good run of backup running backs that have just come in place after Sony Michelle went down, after James White went down. Right now, do you see anything going on over there that we should be playing as a flex? Continue playing anybody over there for the Patriots?
I'm going to tell you right now. Go ahead. Go ahead, Michael.
Oh, most specifically, I'm thinking of like Damien Harris and Sony Michelle. Are these players that you want to have in your lineup?
Yeah, I've been playing the Patriots backfield carousel this season, and I am going crazy. I can't keep up with it. It's been frustrating because I'll go with Rex, right? And then I'll have Sony Michelle just in case. And then, oh yeah, by the way, Damien Harris is going to get more carries today. And I've been trying to outsmart this backfield and play this game. I feel like I'm just running in circles around these 3 backs and they have not come through for me. Maybe I'm playing the wrong one at the wrong time. My goodness. They have not been anything but trouble for me. So I am staying away from the Patriots backfield.
Yep.
That's how I feel.
Yep. Same here. I think James White might be valuable now that Rex Burkhead is out, unfortunately. James White might be valuable in a flex in a PPR specifically league. If it's not a full point PPR, half point PPR, I think just move somewhere else and figure something else out. I think stay away from that carousel.
Weird stat, but Sony Michelle, the week that he went down, had 140 all-purpose yards. 117 on the ground. So
the only thing that makes me nervous is that's not a normal Sony Michelle game, right? It's like touchdown dependent, very like ugly, grinded out type of game. Damien Harris has looked good, but I just do not trust it. The only person I can trust is James White playing that Rex Burkhead role. And even then, I mean, it's all dependent on if Cam Newton wants to check down to the running backs here and there.
Yep.
This is a special edition of the Fantasy Gods on ESPN San Antonio. Jill, I want to apologize. I kind of touched a nerve earlier today. Before the show, we started talking about the Houston Texans. Mm-hmm. They play also on Thanksgiving, all right? So now the Cowboys are played, but the matinee Texans against Lions. Brandon Cooks, I mentioned his name and you just winced. And I'm talking to you about the fact that Randall Cobb and Kenny Stills are out for the Texans this week. Deshaun Watson suddenly looked really good this past weekend. Finally, the quarterback that we had hoped when we drafted him, probably number 4 or 5 off the board as quarterback. Jill, is this Brandon Cooks' week? Is it his season now?
God, and that is the $1 million question for me in my lineup, because I want it to be. I mean, and he's been trending upward ever since roughly their 4th, 5th week when they started to get into division play. And with him and Deshaun, I feel like they are so complimentary of each other, right? Obviously, wide receiver, quarterback. When Deshaun's doing well, Cooks is doing well. He's cooking. But as consistent as he's been the last several weeks, he doesn't have that huge upside because the Texans haven't been that high-powered offense that we were hoping they would be going into the season. So Cooks, for me, because I have 2 other strong wide receivers, I've been in and out with him in the flex. And it's one of those things where I'm like, okay, toss a coin. You know, is Cooks going to be cooking this week? I don't know. I do like their matchup with Detroit. But, man, and I got to make this decision. Right now, I have him on my bench. Right now, guys.
You are benching someone who had 4 receptions last week for 85 yards. He's had a couple of touchdowns in the last 4 weeks. He's just one of those players, man. But he was really good when I had him for the Rams a couple of years ago.
Right?
But ever since he's been with the Texans, not so much. He's kind of feast or famine. So I was taking a look at something earlier today. You know, Gardner Minshew, who has the second best mustache in all of the NFL, behind Giovanni Bernard.
Understandable.
Gio, right?
Fair.
Gardner Minshew is going to ride the pine in favor of Mike Glennon. Mike Glennon making a return to the NFL over here as an NFL starter. Does this reek of tanking? They can't tank for Trevor anymore. That's going to the Jets. But are they tanking for Ohio State's Justin Fields? What do you think, Brandon?
I do.
We'll go to Jill on this one. Jill, what do you think?
I mean, as much as I would love to say Justin Fields is a phenomenal player, and I think they would of course benefit from him. I don't know. I'm against tanking and the idea of it. No matter what team you are, even the Jets. Well, the Jets don't have to tank; they just have to, show up, be the Jets, and show up, and they get Trevor Lawrence. So I hate the idea of it across all sports. So no, I also am a big fan of Gardner Minshew. So I'm interested to see how this plays out. But no, I'm gonna say no, even though Justin Fields is a phenomenal player.
Yeah, well, what I love truly is, this is going to be a Thanksgiving special, right, Mike? This is a Thanksgiving special. Yeah. Be thankful because come full circle, Mike Glennon got benched for Mitch Trubisky, who got benched for Nick Foles, who got benched for Gardner Minshew, and then got replaced by Luton, and now Mike Glennon is back on top. What a beautiful Thanksgiving miracle.
I love how Jill approaches this as a former athlete. You know, we can't tank, right? But I'm sorry. I haven't been part of a team. I haven't been part of a team since I played men's league softball. I'm sorry. Tank, okay? Embrace the tank, trust the process, and I also make that recommendation for the Spurs when their season starts as well, okay? We've got a lot to talk about in this special Thanksgiving edition, pre-Thanksgiving edition of the Fantasy Gods. Coming up, you may not know this, but right now I am wearing a New Orleans Saints shirt.
Yikes.
My favorite team. This is my team. But are we really going to trust Taysom Hill? And was it I don't want to use the word blessing, but was it a good thing for the team that Drew Brees got hurt? Maybe not so bad, but he got hurt. We're going to talk about more about this. You're listening to the Fantasy Gods on ESPN San Antonio, your home for the holidays.
This ESPN San Antonio college football update brought to you by Dos Equis, a most interesting beer.
Injuries do happen, so if you happen to twist, pull, pop, or snap something with that backyard football game over Thanksgiving, you need to know about the Sports Institute at TSAOG Orthopedics. From a minor sprain to a compound fracture, TSAOG Orthopedics has got you covered. Now, not all injuries require surgery, and Dr. David Espinosa treats all non-operative orthopedic injuries and concussion baseline testing. There's no reason to be in pain. At TSAOG Orthopedics, they also offer telemedicine services available through OrthoConnect. You can learn more at their website, tsaog.com. Injuries do happen. When they do, you want to make the athlete's choice. Now, you don't have to be an athlete to go to TSAOG Orthopedics, but you definitely want to make the athlete's choice with their locations all over San Antonio, the Ortho Now injury clinics that are even open on Saturday. The Sports Institute at TSAOG Orthopedics, online, tsaog.com.
Hurt in an accident and dealing with hospital bills? Thomas J. Henry will help you with medical bills while we work on your case. Start your claim today at tjhlaw.com/radio. That's tjhlaw.com/radio. San Antonio, Texas.
Southern Recipe Small Batch Pork Rinds has teamed up with Coach Ditka's Gridiron Greats Assistance Fund once again, helping heroes from the gridiron who are in dire need. They'll be celebrating Pork Rind Appreciation Day by giving away $5,000 and other incredible prizes. Plus, you could win a rare one-on-one conversation with a Pro Football Hall of Famer. And let me tell you, that's pretty awesome. Enter at porkrinds.com and pick up your favorite flavor in the snack food aisle at H-E-B.
This is for the men who never settle. The ones who refuse to let happy hour end without squeezing in one more round. The type of guys who would rather sweat from unspeakable places than stop eating the spiciest wings on the menu. And the men who still chuckle when they order their wings bone in. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
Looking for a late night bite? Service industry employees receive 50% off handhelds and appetizers every day, 10 to close. Some exclusions apply.
There's never any FOMO with the iHeartRadio app. You won't ever have to miss out on your favorite shows and contests with this radio station again. Radio 24/7, 365. We're here when you want us. Stay connected and listen anywhere when you download the free iHeartRadio app.
Due to overwhelming response last week, Diamonds Direct is continuing our annual pre-holiday store-wide sale all the way through Cyber Monday. That's right. You get an extra week to take advantage of extraordinary savings. Save 20% and more. Rings, earrings, pendants, bracelets, designer fashion jewelry, colored gemstones, engagement and wedding rings. Case after case of amazing deals. It's our most popular event of the year, now extended through Cyber Monday for your convenience. We've asked our designer partners to send even more selection to accommodate the demand. We've received extensions on our aggressive financing options. We've thrown the rule book out the window to make this happen. It's Diamonds Direct's biggest and longest sale ever. We're talking better than typical Black Friday pricing store-wide on the most popular holiday gifts. In a year filled with surprises and changes, this is one you can celebrate. Get her the most memorable and most romantic holiday gift ever and save 20% and more off Diamonds Direct's already unbeatable value price. Don't miss the extended savings now through Cyber Monday at Diamonds Direct.
At the shops at La Cantera.
The great thing about facts, they're proven. Like the fact that crude oil contains impurities. or that base oil made from natural gas is 99.5% free of impurities. And the fact that Pennzoil is the first synthetic motor oil made from natural gas, not crude oil. It gives you unbeatable engine protection. The proof is in the Pennzoil. Based on Sequence 4A wear test using SAE 5W30. Available at Pet Boys.
With no fees or minimums on checking and savings accounts, banking with Capital One is like the easiest decision in the history of decisions. Kind of like choosing Charles Barkley in a pickup game.
We'll take Barkley.
Ha! First pick. Sorry, kids.
Yep, even easier than that. And with our top-rated app, you can bank anytime, anywhere, making Capital One an even easier decision.
Okay, here's the plan. Pass me the ball every time.
This is banking reimagined. What's in your wallet?
New consumer accounts only. Approval required. Terms apply. Capital One N.A. member FDIC.
Welcome back to this special pre-Thanksgiving edition of the Fantasy Gods on ESPN San Antonio, 1250 AM, 94.5 FM, and as always on the go at espnsa.com. Man, Thanksgiving's tomorrow. So excited. One of my favorite holidays. And I'm setting the over-under on calorie count tomorrow at about 8,000.
Fair. Take the over.
Take the over. That's Brandon Big Poppy Medina, my fellow fantasy god. Also here today is our fantasy goddess, Jill Jelnick, as well. Jill, Brandon, what do you think? What calorie count are we going to stay within tomorrow?
I think we're
round. Take the over.
Yeah, take the over. Always take the over.
Oh man, my demon tomorrow is going to be that pecan pie.
Yep.
Oh, I'm going to have.
Yes,
I'm
it
going to
is.
have a couple of slices in each one of them, but it doesn't count. See, I have Thanksgiving tomorrow, and then I'm going on vacation. My wife and I are going to New Orleans for the weekend, and none of those calories count.
No.
Bourbon Street, not going to count.
Beignets don't count. Just enjoy yourself.
Mimosas don't count.
No, whatsoever.
Speaking of New Orleans, I'm going to the promised land over there because that is where my favorite team resides, the New Orleans Saints. And for those of you who are out there complaining that I'm not a Cowboy fan, fact of the matter is the Cowboys have never played a game in San Antonio, but the New Orleans Saints have a regular season game. Okay?
That's good. That's pretty good.
I caught myself there, a regular season game. But as a fan, I'm going to be honest with you, the Saints might be in first place, but I'm not super excited because who's under center right now? Taysom Hill. Okay, so his stats last week, 18 for 23, 233 yards. He rushed for 51 yards, 2 touchdowns. Fantastic stats for someone who I started as a tight end in my fantasy leagues. But he's going to be a quarterback now for fantasy purposes from here on out, according to ESPN. But here's the thing. Is he really a top 10 quarterback that we should be starting the rest of the way? Am I or someone who has Taysom Hill going to actually start him in the playoffs where money's on the line in our fantasy leagues? Brandon, what do you think?
No, sir, but I do think he takes away from fantasy players like Alvin Kamara rushing-wise. I think he's going to be a dual-threat guy. I do think he takes away some points from other players. However, I still roll with the Aaron Rodgers. I still roll with the Josh Allens, the Kyler Murrays, the big guys like that. So I wouldn't start him in a 10-team league nor a 12-team possibly.
Jill, would you start Taysom?
Yeah, I'm with Brandon. It's different if we're looking at him from a tight end perspective. And I mean, gosh, you mentioned it, Michael. His rushing. I mean, he hasn't thrown a touchdown since his college playing days at BYU. But man, this guy can run. As fun as he is to watch and as exciting of a player he is, he's not top 10 in fantasy. And you got to think. I know you, Michael, as a Saints fan, you're hoping Drew Brees is quickly on the path to recovery, but you just don't know what's going to happen there.
Yeah, Drew Brees. First of all, last segment, let me go ahead and say that I didn't hope that Drew Brees was going to get hurt. But Brandon,
that's what I heard. That's what I heard. That's what I heard, Mike. That's what I heard.
You do know, Brandon, that on our show, I have made fun of Drew Brees because I told you early on, he's not going to finish the year. He's just not. He's not built that way anymore. He's older. He's getting a little bit more brittle. And when I saw him get hurt, 11 broken ribs. I didn't even know we had that many.
That's
you have
nuts.
11 ribs to break. That is absolutely crazy.
That's why we're in radio, not the medical field, Mike. That's why we're in radio. You know what I mean?
But one of the things that I looked at the stat line last week for the Saints was, okay, you are right. Taysom Hill has not thrown a touchdown since his days at BYU, but he was doing something that Drew Brees wasn't. He was looking the way of Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas with over 100 yards receiving, more than 10 targets, I believe 9 receptions. Why did it take so long to get him involved? I know there was issues off the field, got injuries and stuff like that, or locker room issues and whatnot. But even when he was on the field, it wasn't going his direction. But Taysom Hill, was looking at Michael Thomas the very second that he got the ball in his hands. Jill, do you think that maybe Taysom Hill is not the starter, but that Michael Thomas, who was probably the first receiver taken off the board this year in fantasy drafts, do you think that he benefits from Taysom Hill being the quarterback?
I think Michael Thomas just benefits from him being healthy, my goodness, right? And having someone throw to him. I don't know if that game, this past game with Taysom Hill, looking at him specifically and Michael Thomas specifically, had to do with Taysom as much as it did the defense having to respect Hill's running game and having a lot more to handle, right? Because if they didn't need to do as much, didn't need to focus on the rush defense as much as they did with Drew Brees. So I'd like to say that maybe it was an anomaly, but I think you just play Michael Thomas because he's Michael Thomas and you took him off the draft board in the beginning for a reason. That's what I'm trying to say. So I don't know if it's as much Taysom Hill because this past game was a little bit of an anomaly, or as much as it is you play Michael Thomas for his skill set.
Okay, so I liked what you said there. You play them because for their skill set and because you drafted them early. Well, one of the top 3 or 4 running backs that was drafted early this year was Ezekiel Elliott. And Zeke looked really good last week. He looked like
He looked like himself. He looked like himself. The Zeke we've been missing this entire season. Can you tell I'm a little frustrated about that?
I didn't
Someone
realize
has Zeke on the fantasy team.
I didn't realize that Zeke was capable of running more than 10 yards at a time because he hadn't done it much.
You're talking like a true non-Cowboys fan, Michael. Come on. You're talking about a 2-time rushing champion. He had a case of the yips. The Cowboys have been struggling, but now we've seen this team come together. I think this is just Zeke being Zeke. He's been hungry this whole time, and they finally fed him. That's all I got to say about that.
I'm sorry, but the stats say otherwise, okay? Yes, he has been a rushing champ. Yes, he's phenomenal. But, 2017, 2018 call said, great take. But the fact of the matter is that he hadn't ran past 15 yards like all year. And all of a sudden, he was busting through more than 10 yards. And it was different. It was different. I agree. He's a great running back. And I agree, 2017, 2018, 2019, top 3 running back in the league. But this year, that wasn't the case.
Well, hold on a second, Michael. What was that one position group that was struggling extremely and decimated with injuries? Oh yeah, the offensive line. Oh yeah, that's right. How about that offensive line?
Oh,
okay, I'm not putting
me to shame.
I'm not putting it all on them. I'm just saying, hey, let's keep in mind again that this Cowboys team has been decimated by injuries, specifically that O-line. And oh yeah, they do have a little bit to do with whether or not Zeke is able to take off and do his thing. I'm quick to defend Zeke, I think, because I felt actually a little bit of sympathy for him when he did have the yips and he was making those mistakes, because that was very uncharacteristic of him. And so I think against the Vikings this past Sunday, it was good to see him in his element.
I will say, Jill, we know they play the Vikings. There is no need to take a shot over at my Vikings. There's no need to mention them. However, this was the first time he's passed 100 yards, I believe, all season. It was great to see him come back. Yes. Zeke is somebody that you might have been able to buy low on. I traded Kenyon Drake for Zeke Elliott up, and what a great trade that's been for me so far.
There you
so
go.
Zeke Elliott is definitely somebody to keep in your lineups. He's going to be a playoff savior, and I think Alvin Kamara is somebody you need to back away from with Taysom Hill at quarterback now.
Real quick, we do have a question coming in from Christopher Lewis. He asked the question, I have Goff or Wentz and not sure which one to start since coach wouldn't commit to Carson being the starter on Monday. He also sends a second comment saying, Michael, please refrain from answering LOL. Fine. I will recuse myself from this. Okay, you do realize you're talking to a fantasy god.
Just excuse yourself, he said.
Okay, before I excuse myself, let me just basically say this. Goff should have been the starter regardless of Wentz's status. Personal opinion.
Brandon, I'm curious to hear your thoughts.
I didn't excuse myself. I didn't excuse myself. Brandon, what do you think?
Yeah, I actually do agree with you. Sometimes me and you disagree, but I think Jared Goff looked incredible. That offensive line, the wide receivers, his running backs look incredible. I definitely think it's going to be a fun game for them to get going. So I truly believe Jared Goff might be the safest to roll with. I think Carson Wentz is too mistake prone. I think Jared Goff is the safest with the best offense.
Carson Wentz leads the NFL with 14 interceptions. Even though Jared Goff is not the flashy play, right? He's not maybe the easy pick. He's the safer of the two.
Yes, and also Carson Wentz leads the league in bad decisions. He took that title. took that title from Jason Wentz, by the way.
So it looks like you and Chris are actually going head-to-head in our league. That's why he said refrain.
Oh, my God. I didn't notice that. I'm actually giving advice to somebody I'm playing in the listener league. Play Wentz. Please, play him twice. I'll let you have his points double, okay?
Play Tua. Go ahead, Chris. Play Tua. We'll see what happens. No, but when you look at Carson Wentz, you honestly have to wash your eyes and say, is that Jameis? Is that Jameis playing over there? What's going on over those interceptions?
Fired.
But for Cowboy fans out there, no matter how much you wash your eyes, that's also Super Bowl champion Carson Wentz.
Okay.
He has a ring. He has a ring. Nick Foles. Philly special was all Nick Foles, but Wentz got them to the dance. That was amazing. Hey, this is a fantastic. We're having a great time. We're going to put a bow on the show. This is the special pre-Thanksgiving edition of the Fantasy Gods. We are sponsored by RDK Advisors. Are you a business owner worried about losing key employees? Stop the revolving door. Let RDK Advisors create an executive bonus plan to attract and maintain your key employees. Call 210-508-0369 or visit rdkadvisors.com.
Jason and Rob here for our friends over at Tri-County Meat Market, 2 locations here in San Antonio, and you know they are fantastic. Now, they're closed Thursday and Friday, back open regular hours starting on Saturday, and you're going to be ready to get into Tri-County Meat Market. Maybe you're tired of bird and leftover turkey. You want a great steak or some fajitas, and that's what you're going to get at Tri-County Meat Market and so much more. They're locally owned and full service. They've carefully selected certified prime Angus beef cuts, Wagyu, and upper choice. They have everything you need to up your grilling game, from beef, chicken, pork, those fajitas, the poppers, and more. And you certainly want to take advantage of their Pick 5 for $25. I know I recently did with some pork chops, some pork steaks, some chicken, some burgers, and those great cheeses. Oh, Tri-County is fantastic. They offer a 10% discount for military and first responders, police, firemen, and EMT. Tri-County Meat Market, 2 locations, Ralph Fair Road and on Huebner. Online at tricountymeat.com.
It's been a hell of a year, San Antonio. I'm Chip Ingram, and my bars, the Brew Pub and Angry Elephant, have been closed more than they've been open, and I didn't see that coming. Fortunately, things are getting better. 281 North is open, and football is finally here. Our kitchen is open every day till 2 a.m., and we open for happy hour at 11 a.m. And you know, as our customers say, our food is pretty darn good. So this is me asking you to help a local guy and his staff get back on our feet. Come see us at the Brew Pub and Angry Elephant at 281 North and Redland Road.
This is Rob Thompson. I'm with my brother, Jason, my lawyer. He's with the Thompson Law Firm. Now, Jason, I got a question for you. I see lawyer advertisements, billboards, TV. How do I choose a lawyer?
I see the exact same advertisements, and it would be tough, I think, if you don't have a relationship with an attorney deciding who to pick. I think the things that you need to think about are whether or not the law firm and the lawyer I hire will be my lawyer. And what I mean by that is not a face on a billboard, but never actually seeing that lawyer. I'm talking about hiring the lawyer that I want to represent me. And so when you come in, I am the one that meets you, and I will take you through every step of the process. I will handle the insurance companies. I will help you with your recovery. I will take you through that entire process. And knowing full well that that is my client, not just for today, but for the rest of their life.
Be smart. Protect yourself and your family. Call Jason Thompson, a lawyer for us. 210-900-0400. That's 210-900-0400 or alawyerforus.com.
Not all pizza places are the same. Mellow Mushroom originated hand-tossed, stone-baked classic Southern pizza. Not in the mood for pizza? Order a calzone, hoagie, sandwich, burger, or a mellow salad and see how care goes into every item on the menu. Take your pick from 24 draft beers and or handcrafted cocktails. And many of the pizzas can be made gluten-free or vegan. Mellow Mushroom is at 1604 in Stone Oak Parkway. Hang with friends, watch the game, and mellow out at Mellow Mushroom.
Do you have a retirement plan? No matter your age or how close you are to retirement, you need a plan to make sure you don't run out of money. Jason Minix here for Pax Financial Group. At Pax Financial Group, they know you want to be financially prepared. In order to do that, you need trusted guidance. At Pax, they have the experience and tools to crunch your retirement numbers and get the answers you need. If you have a plan, let Pax double-check all your numbers. At Pax, they believe everybody deserves to be hopeful about their future. They understand why it is important for families to protect their hard-earned money, and a key reason they're a trusted financial advisor for so many families for over the past decade. Connect with Pax Financial Group. Call them at 210-881-5700. That phone number again, 210-881-5700, or go to the website paxfinancialgroup.com, paxfinancialgroup.com, paxfinancialgroup.com. Investment advisory services offered by Pax Financial Group, LLC.
Welcome back to this special Thanksgiving Eve edition of the Fantasy Gods on ESPN San Antonio, 1250 AM, 94.5 FM, and as always on the go at ESPNSA.com. Sponsored by Kielbasa Bacon as well, and RDK Advisors. So it's the last 2 weeks of the season when it comes to fantasy football for most leagues. Last minute changes. I know trade deadline was today for many leagues. For some it was this morning. For some, it was this evening. I know, Brandon, you called me like at 8 a.m. pretending like you weren't trying to fish out a trade offer from me. But what are some last-minute moves that you're doing right now to prepare for the playoffs, if, in fact, you're making the playoffs?
Yeah, I think for me, adding in some of those big key pieces on the waiver wire that maybe have been there too long, somebody like a Marvin Jones, somebody like a Derek Carr to back up a quarterback, stuff like that. I made 3 trades throughout the entire day, and then I made about 5 throughout the entire year. But yeah, I mean, I traded Brandon Ayuk for Devontae Parker this morning. That was a quick one. I traded James Robinson for a couple great wide receivers. I traded Michael Thomas, like I told you a while back, so that finally went through this morning. But yeah, I mean, trades were happening, man. I was definitely making moves today.
Jill, what last-minute moves are you making these days?
No trades for me this week. I'm looking at possible backup with Kerryon Johnson because the Lions don't expect to have DeAndre Swift active because of a concussion. So he may be available in your league. Also, a lot of people may still have tight end Jordan Reed, 49ers, in many leagues, especially with the Niners coming off a bye week last week. He had a season high 62 receiving yards in his last game. So I'm looking at some replacements. I'm looking to just some balance. I don't want to get too flashy right now. I don't like getting too flashy at the end of the season because I like going with what got you there. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Understood. I'm in 3 leagues right now. 2 of them, I'm the highest point leader and in first place. 1 of them, down the toilet. I've already flushed that league. I got auto drafted early on, and it just ruined my day. And I have been. Yeah, everyone blows up. I mean, I have the worst points against, so it just is what it is, right? There's nothing I can do in that league. But here's the thing. Some of the changes that I've done, I recently traded Antonio Gibson. This was last week. I traded Antonio Gibson and Cooper Kupp for Michael Thomas simply because a friend of mine, he needed to win. You know, he was a 4-6 record. He had to win out. I'm sitting there at 8-2 going, you know what? I want a wide receiver one. I want another one just in case. And wouldn't you know, Taysom Hill kept looking his way. Right now, what I'm doing right now, I didn't do any trades this week. I did pick up some defenses, though. And I picked up Jordan Akins as my tight end for the Houston Texans. Had a good week last week. Serviceable week. But I can't.
We talked about that.
Yeah, I can't start Taysom Hill anymore.
Right, so you may need to look at him. Yeah.
So Jordan Akins, not a bad play. And then I started looking at defenses. So right now what I'm doing is I am going online to see the Week 14 players lineups, and I picked up Arizona's defense because they're playing the Giants, and I picked up the Titans' defense because they're playing the Jaguars. Those may be available, but I'm thinking about it this way. If I could get a big week from a defense because they're playing teams that are going to tank at that point in the season, that's my strategy right now. And it's amazing. We've had so much fun today here on the Fantasy Gods. I want to wish everybody, Jill, thank you so much for being a fantasy goddess.
Oh,
Brandon,
thank you guys.
Brandon, thank you so much for being my fellow fantasy god and letting me be the one to your 1A today when it's usually the other way around. Everybody have a safe and happy Thanksgiving. This has been the Fantasy Gods on ESPN San Antonio, your home for the holidays.